What's up, you guys? Hey, it's Mike here. Okay, we're going to do a video today, much requested. It is about the Seattle real estate market. Now, the nice thing about real estate is that the market's always changing, and so I have to update these videos on a relatively frequent basis. So stay tuned because we're going to talk about some big news that has just hit the freaking airwaves. I'm sure if you're following on Facebook, if you're following the news on TV or on the radio, or even if you use newspapers still, I'm sure you've read in the last couple of days many articles that are saying what? Seattle, the king of the hill, the Emerald City, has been dethroned by Sin City as the #1 market for the nation. Okay, how long have we held on to this title? The last 21 months in a row, which is the second longest streak that has ever been recorded, we held onto the title as the largest median home price increase month over month. 21 months in a row, Seattle held onto that title, and it was just eked out barely by Las Vegas. They beat us with a 13% increase over the last 3-month average that this study looked at, whereas Seattle was at a mere 12.8%. Couple of things to keep in mind here, okay? Number one, first of all, what are the actual median prices for the city of Seattle? $805,000 is the median home value. That's insane. Oh my God, I just can't even think. I remember as a kid being in North Dakota looking at homes that were like mansions with plots of land for like 150,000. I mean, granted, this was in the early 2000s in North Dakota, but still. Las Vegas's median home value, $290,000. So again, for them, that's a lot. Fitch Ratings, which was one of the companies that wrote this article or was sponsored in the article, said that they believe that the Las Vegas home values are overvalued at a rate of 20 to 24% above what that market can sustain. Well, what does that lead you to think? Oh, potential crash scenario, right? They also said that Seattle is overvalued at a rate of 10 to 14% above what this market can sustain. Again, crash indicators, potential crash indicators. Let's keep looking at some different numbers. If we actually take a look at the study, we really get down into where these home value increases are occurring here in the city of Seattle. Again, coming back to whether or not maybe there's a crash or correction on the horizon, let's look at where the actual home value increases happened. It did not happen in the city of Seattle. So when this study talks about Seattle, they're talking about the Seattle area and sometimes they're talking about the city of Seattle. So for the actual median home value increases, they're looking at the greater Seattle area to include Everett to the north, Tacoma to the south. Each one of these cities has 100 to 150,000 people in it. The price went up in those cities. So Everett and Tacoma saw increases in their home values of 16%, which is just astronomically crazy, right? Seattle, on the other hand, did not see those increases. And they especially did not see those increases in the months of July and August. This study is a 3-month average. They were still seeing large increases in prices going into summer, at the beginning of June and throughout June. But they didn't see it in July and they didn't see it in August. What's happening? Buyers, right? People or buyers are saying to themselves, that's it, we're done, we're tired of the crime, we're tired of the taxes, we're tired of the city, it's too expensive, we're moving and we're commuting back into the city. It's a horrible commute, trust me, but that's what they're saying. That's what I said. That's why I live in Bothell, even though I work in Seattle. I can't afford to live in Seattle. I'm just one of many millions of people. So what we're seeing, again, I believe could be potential indicators for an actual crash, okay? People are saying we've had enough, we're moving out and commuting in. The prices are going up in surrounding markets, which is what's keeping the overall price value for this article and this study up, but it's not sustainable. Another thing to keep in mind here, something very interesting, and I don't want to just be a doomsayer or an end of times, but we are at a 35% increase over the previous bubble peak in 2007. That's right. Where we were at back in 2007, right before the market just tanked and everything fell out nationwide, that point, that high point, we are 35% higher than we were back then. All right, guys, so if we just do a quick recap of everything that I just talked about, the actual main points that I think would indicate that it's actually going to develop into more of a crash than just a correction. The large majority of price increases for home values was not in the city of Seattle, it was in surrounding areas. There's actually been citable examples of price decreases in Seattle. Buyers are no longer making purchases, they're standing on the sidelines and they're waiting, okay? Sales have gone way down, meanwhile inventory is at a record 10-year high. And lastly, the statistic that I thought was the most telling was the fact that we are at a 35%, we're 35% above the previous 2007 high point for home values, okay? And the median home value for Seattle is $805,000. $805,000. That is an unbelievable price when you look at, there's only select jobs that can actually afford something like that. A lot of these individuals purchased these homes a long time ago and are now trying to sell, but there's only so many high earning jobs out there that can even afford to buy some of these homes. So folks, I appreciate you watching the channel. I always appreciate the support that we get. Please let me know what's going on in your market. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what your market's like. I know a little bit about California. I know what's going on in Seattle and the surrounding areas, but I'd love to hear about what's going on in the rest of the country. If this is materializing in more than just a few select cities, and we're seeing it in a lot of major cities, then I would say definitely nationwide, we're probably headed for an actual crash because the rest of the nation's housing market is going to follow what the major cities do. However, if this is just, California and Seattle locally, which I don't think it is based on what I'm researching and seeing, if it is just these couple of areas, then maybe we'll just see the correction. Appreciate you guys always for watching. Hey, hit like for me, share this with someone who might need the information, and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate it, guys. We'll catch you next time.